Chapter 2046. The small city gradually became more and more lively. Many people from the particle world came here to stay. Many came to offer their congratulations. There were also some who wanted to take a look at the immortals from the upper world. Even in this era, immortals were still extremely rare in particle worlds. They were lofty characters, and one could very well imagine the attraction of immortals from the immortal sects and immortals from Azure Mystic. The MO residence was naturally the center of the liveliness. There was an endless stream of people visiting the MO residence, and it was even livelier than the market. However, as the person in question, Mo Qingcheng, no one saw her during these few days. According to the MO residence, Mo Qingcheng was currently in closed-door seclusion. Other than the Mo clan being extremely lively, there were also many people who came to Qin Wenqian's little house during these few days. His parents, Qin Yuanfeng and Luoshan Qianxue, were all here, quietly arriving. His foster father Qin Chuan, as well as the family members of Mo Qingcheng's previous life, also came. After that, they quietly stayed in this small city and didn't disturb the Mo residence. There were only a few days left. They were all willing to quietly wait for Mo Qingcheng to awaken her memories. As for the so-called immortal accepting a disciple and proposing marriage, to them, it was nothing more than a trivial matter that wasn't worth taking to heart at all. The day of Mo Qingcheng's 20th birthday finally arrived. Inside the small city, steeds were galloping on the ground, and flying demonic beasts were galloping in the sky. They were chatting cheerfully and wittily as they rushed towards the same direction. That was outside the Mo residence. Right now, a tall platform had already been constructed there. In a radius of several hundred miles, there were many people who came here to congratulate and to spectate. Today, the immortals from the upper world would descend. Everyone in the Mo residence stood on the platform to welcome the guests. They stared at the countless figures in the surroundings as smiles bloomed on their faces. There were people congratulating them unceasingly, and they clasped their hands in all directions in high spirits. At this moment, a group of figures floated down. Among these people, the males were handsome and carefree while the females were beautiful and dignified. All of them exuded an extraordinary aura, and were all disciples of the immortal sect in this particle world. They came to the platform and stared at the air, as though they were preparing to welcome someone. Celestial light descended from the sky. After that, everyone saw the celestial bird flying over. The aura of the celestial bird was astonishing. Even from afar, one could feel its might. He's here. The people of the Mo residence were all agitated. The immortal sect disciples all knelt on one knee and bowed as they shouted, "Welcome, exalted immortal. We respectfully welcome immortal." The people of the Mo residence bowed as well. "Welcome, exalted immortal." All the onlookers within hundreds of miles bowed in unison to show their respect. This was an exalted immortal from the upper worlds. Rumor had it that the exalted immortal who came this time was someone with an extremely high status in the immortal sect. Many immortals obeyed him, and his status was very high. The Mo residence was going to soar into the heavens. All of this was because the Mo clan had given birth to a good daughter. A golden demon immortal descended and landed on the ground. Only then did everyone truly feel how terrifying this demon beast was. That was a golden condor. Its sharp eyes swept across everyone as if it was looking at ants. It was a demon immortal. The golden eagle's body was huge, and there were many people on its back. All of them stood there respectfully, guarding an immortal palanquin. These people all had extraordinary temperaments, and each of them was a lofty character. At this moment, the curtains of the immortal palanquin opened as two figures slowly walked out, moving towards the head of the golden condor. The people behind them all followed closely behind. This was a pair of husband and wife. The man was clad in luxurious embroidered robes and had an immortal crown on his head. The woman was elegant and dignified, like a female empress. Her eyes flashed with disdain, staring down at everyone. In an instant, countless people in a radius of 100 miles held their breaths. In their eyes there were only these two figures. These were immortals, lofty and lofty. If it wasn't for Mo Qingcheng, it might be hard for them to meet such existences in their entire lives. "Father, mother." A young man appeared. This young man was extraordinarily handsome and had a smile on his face. He had an extraordinary background and came to this particle world to temper himself. He met Emo Chingching and wanted to take her as his wife. In fact, he even got his parents to personally come here from the upper world, giving the Emo residents enough face. "Where is she?" the young woman calmly asked, not showing too much respect to the Emo residents. Their arrival was already considered a favor to the Emo residents. Her immortal sense swept through this place. After all, this was still a particle world so weak that it was pitifully small. It was rumored that this was the place where the Heaven Empyrean grew up. But ultimately, there was only a single Heaven Empyrean in this world. "Quick, call Chingching over." The people of the Emo clan were incomparably nervous. This was the first time they met such major characters, immortals from the upper world. A moment later, Emo Chingching walked out. She was very calm when she saw the immortals from the upper world. "Chingching, quickly pay your respects to the immortals." Beside her, Emo Chingching's second uncle urged. "Not bad." At this moment, that young woman nodded her head lightly. Her gaze was filled with satisfaction when she looked at Emo Chingching. Regardless of cultivation or looks, she was very satisfied. Emo Chingching could be said to be worthy of her son. It's truly rare for the Emo residents to be able to produce such a descendant. The young man beside her also nodded in satisfaction. Seems like his son's judgment wasn't bad. "Many thanks to the immortals." Emo Chingching's second uncle respectfully spoke. At this moment, those immortals from the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms didn't get off the Golden Condor. However, no one dared to doubt their pride. This was something they should have. However, Emo Chingching felt somewhat unhappy in her heart. Her beautiful eyes stared at the crowd as though she was searching for something. However, she didn't see the person she was looking for. "Strange uncle, you promised me that you would come. Chingching still wants to see you and speak a few words with you." Emo Chingching didn't manage to find the person she was looking for. She felt a little sad in her heart. The young man's silhouette flashed and appeared not far away from Emo Chingching. He then spoke. "Chingching, 2 years ago you didn't agree to my request. Today, I asked my parents to come over from the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. You should be able to see my sincerity, right?" Emo Chingching retracted her thoughts. Her beautiful eyes were as calm as ever as she stared at the young man. "Emo Chingching." At this moment, the beautiful middle-aged woman on the Golden Condor spoke. "I heard that you joined the Immortal Sect 2 years ago and your talent is outstanding. Now that I've personally seen you, I'm extremely satisfied. In the future, you should work even harder to become an immortal and establish your immortal foundation as soon as possible. Also, my son is very fond of you and has mentioned this to me many times. This time around, us husband and wife came here to propose a marriage. In the future, when you marry into my clan, you have to serve your husband well and improve together with him, becoming an immortal couple." Her words were so natural and certain, as though she didn't even consider if Emo Chingching would agree or not. From her point of view, this was a favor, an honor for Emo Chingching. Emo Chingching's gaze flickered. She was still searching the crowd. This caused the beautiful middle-aged woman on the Golden Condor to frown. The man beside her spoke. "Emo Chingching, are you willing?" "Chingching." Emo Chingching's second uncle spoke from behind. Emo Chingching's eyes flashed with disappointment. She turned her gaze back and stared at the two silhouettes on the Golden Condor. However, her heart was still thinking about that good-looking young man. Would he really not come? The Emo residence is going to strike it rich. Countless gazes landed on Emo Chingching, waiting for her to reply with the word yes. There was no need to doubt this. An immortal personally came down to the mortal world to propose a marriage. How glorious was this? Emo Chingching's beautiful eyes were slightly moist. Everyone thought that she was moved when they saw this. Who knew what she was feeling right now? At this moment, a beam of light appeared in the sky. This beam of light was extremely bright, causing many people to incline their heads and stare at it. After that, a strange look appeared on their faces. Emo Chingching also inclined her head. That beam of light was extremely bright. Red clouds appeared in the sky and continued to extend outwards. Very swiftly, the red clouds filled the sky and actually interweaved into strange shapes, transforming into the shapes of numerous saint beasts. In addition, they were all saint beasts. There were dragons, phoenixes, Xuanwu tortoises, kirans. How beautiful! Many people sighed in admiration. Such a phenomenon in the sky, could it be that an immortal has descended? Beams of red light shot down from the sky, resembling a pathway leading to the heavens. It was simply incomparable. The people of the world had never seen such a miraculous scene before. At this moment, countless people in the particle world inclined their heads and stared at the sky. When Emo Chingching saw this, her eyes grew even more moist. A phenomenon in the sky, the red clouds transformed into saint beasts. However, the person in the sky wasn't you. In that case, what was the meaning of all this? A phenomenon in the sky, an auspicious omen. Someone from the Emo residence spoke. Everyone in the Emo residence was incomparably happy. Today, an immortal descended to the Emo residence to propose a marriage. To think that there would actually be a phenomenon in the sky. It's indeed an auspicious omen. The two immortals also had smiles on their faces. Such a phenomenon was truly rare. It was unknown when, but a snow-white puppy ran out, sprinting towards Emo Chingcheng. Emo Chingcheng seemed to have sensed something. She stretched her hand out and caught it. Little Rascal leaped into her embrace as her beautiful eyes brightened. She rubbed Little Rascal's head. Little Rascal, why are you here? Where's the weird uncle? Yeah. Little Rascal pointed to a direction only to see a figure quietly walking over from the crowd. This figure was clad in robes as white as snow and was extremely good-looking. His countenance was handsome, and he exuded an extraordinary aura. A smile could be seen on his face, and this smile was filled with warmth. His black eyes seemed to contain boundless emotions. 20 years, a total of 20 years. Felt as long as a few centuries. This day had finally arrived. 20 years ago he stood outside the Emo clan, waiting for Emo Chingcheng to be born. The fate of Samsara had finally arrived. Weird uncle, you are here. Emo Chingcheng smiled happily. She was truly happy. Her smile was so radiant that it caused the people of the Emo residence to frown. It also caused the young man not far away from her to frown. Similarly, the eyes of the immortal on the golden condor flashed with coldness. What's going on? The beautiful middle-aged woman icily spoke. Her voice was extremely cold. Such a good-looking young man appeared. And Emo Chingcheng had such a radiant smile on her face. She couldn't help but to connect the dots. However, among the crowd there were also some old people who had lived for many years. Their cultivation bases weren't low, at the celestial phenomenon realm. Hence they had lived for many years. When they saw the white-robed figure, their bodies involuntarily trembled as their hearts pounded madly. Heavens, how can this be possible? This is him. They would never forget this figure, they would never forget that he had returned. Emo Chingcheng. No wonder this name sounded so familiar. They screamed in their hearts. At this moment they finally recalled it. I'm here. Qin Wentian gently stared at Emo Chingcheng. Strange uncle, I have something I want to tell you. Emo Chingcheng spoke. Even if you don't say it, I already know. Qin Wentian replied. Emo Chingcheng's beautiful eyes blinked. So it turned out that strange uncle already knew. When she thought of this, she blushed. In that case, he came today? When she thought of this, Emo Chingcheng's heart pounded. Strange uncle, in that case, should I marry him or not? If you don't want to, there's naturally no need to marry him. Qin Wentian's reply was the same as 2 years ago. But if I don't marry him, who should I marry? Emo Chingcheng's beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian. I'll marry you. Qin Wentian's smile was incomparably radiant. When Emo Chingcheng heard this, her face blossomed with the most beautiful smile in the past 20 years. I'll marry you. In these 20 years there had never been a sentence so moving. At this moment, she tossed aside all her worries and worries. For the sake of this sentence, she was willing to pay any price. Chapter 2047. Emo Chingcheng smiled sweetly. As she smiled, her beautiful eyes turned moist. She stared at the white-robed figure before her. You haven't asked me if I'm willing to marry you or not. In that case, are you willing? Qin Wentian laughed. Emo Chingcheng inclined her head, staring at the red clouds in the sky as she shouted, I'm willing. Her voice reverberated through the air. The two of them spoke as though there was no one else around, causing the entire area to be incomparably silent. No one dared to speak, in fact they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. The expressions of the two immortals were extremely unsightly to behold. Senior, I'm sorry. I already have someone I like. So, I have to thank Senior for your kind intentions. Emo Qingqing's beautiful eyes stared at the two immortals. She was already prepared to bear all the consequences. Do you know who the person you rejected is? That beautiful middle-aged woman coldly spoke, causing the atmosphere to be stifled. Qingqing, have you gone mad? Only now did the people of the Emo residence react. They all rushed forward. The second uncle of the Emo clan glared at Qin Wentian as he roared in rage. You are courting death. Qin Wentian turned his gaze over, staring at Emo Qingqing's second uncle. His expression was calm as he calmly spoke, I don't want to hurt you. So, you just have to quietly watch from the side. You. Emo Qingqing's second uncle pointed at Qin Wentian as he roared in rage. You madman, you harmed my Emo residence. 20 years ago, you waited outside the Emo clan for Qingqing to be born. Could it be that you were waiting for today? Isn't this too ridiculous and despicable? I told you to watch. Qin Wentian seriously spoke, turning his gaze over. At this instant, Emo Qingqing's second uncle only felt his soul trembling as his entire body was drenched in sweat. He couldn't help but to stare fixedly at Qin Wentian. As expected, he wasn't an ordinary person. No wonder he didn't age. I don't care who you are. Scram for me now. I won't kill you. At this moment, the young man who proposed marriage to Emo Qingqing had a sinister look on his face as he stared at Qin Wentian. It was like Qin Wentian was doing him a favor. His parents personally came to this particle world to propose marriage, but they were actually smacked in the face by someone else. Qin Wentian glanced at him indifferently before shifting his gaze away. The young man felt as if Qin Wentian had completely ignored his existence. It was as if he did not exist in Qin Wentian's eyes at all. Moreover, this white-robed figure was indeed very handsome. A hint of ruthlessness flashed in the young man's eyes. Kill him. The young man's expression was ferocious. He turned around and gave an order to his parents' mount, the Golden Eagle. The Golden Eagle let out a sharp screech, raised its claws and took a step forward. It was unknown when little rascal had leaped down from Emo Qingqing's back. His body suddenly changed. His entire body shone with a golden light as his body grew larger and larger. Very swiftly, he was even larger than the Golden Eagle. A supreme king's aura gushed forth from him. That gaze, as well as that formless pressure, caused the hearts of everyone to pound wildly. The body of the Golden Eagle trembled unceasingly. Its sharp claws had no way to support its body. With a thud, it directly prostrated on the ground. Not only for this Golden Eagle, to everyone's astonishment, all the other beasts in the surroundings actually fell to the ground. Gradually, all of them prostrated themselves on the ground. Their bodies trembled as they prostrated themselves in the direction of Little Rascal, as though they were worshipping their king. What's going on? The eyes of everyone involuntarily narrowed when they saw this abnormal scene. They stared at Little Rascal, who was like the king of all beasts. That snow-white puppy actually caused a demon immortal to prostrate on the ground as his body trembled uncontrollably. I told you to kill him. Trash. The young man roared in rage when he saw the Golden Eagle actually kneeling to the other party's demonic beast. His parents narrowed their eyes as their immortal senses swept through that terrifying demonic beast. They could faintly sense that something was wrong. This demonic beast only exuded a trace of its aura. Yet it was already so terrifying, causing all the other demonic beasts to prostrate on the ground. Little rascal. Emo Qingqing stared at this scene in disbelief. This little fellow whom she had always carried in her arms since he was young was actually a greater demon? The people of the Emo clan were also stunned. Their eyes turned over and landed on Qin Wentian. The second uncle of the Emo clan coldly spoke. As expected, you have long since planned this. We heard that you came from the Chilean immortal sect of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. Sir, who are you? The two immortals stared at Qin Wentian as they asked. However, Qin Wentian didn't even glance at them. His gaze was still on Emo Qingqing as he smiled. Qingqing, do you still remember 2 years ago when you told me that the person you want to marry would ride on true dragons and divine phoenixes to descend, spreading out a vast expanse of red, causing the heavens to tremble? I said that the person who marries you in the future would spread out a vast expanse of red, causing the heavens to tremble, causing the heavens to tremble. I said that in the future, the person who marries you would spread out a vast expanse of red, causing the heavens to tremble, causing the heavens to tremble. Mo Qingqing's beautiful eyes flashed with a bright light as she stared at Qin Wentian. She naturally remembered it, but wasn't this just a beautiful dream? As long as the person who marries me is the strange uncle, everything else doesn't matter. Mo Qingqing's tears flowed as she gently smiled. But since I've promised you something, I naturally have to do it. Qin Wentian's gaze was incomparably gentle. The hearts of the people in the surroundings trembled. Has this fellow gone mad? Spreading out a vast expanse of red, leading to all divine beasts descending, causing the 9 heavenly layers to tremble, leading to all divine beasts descending? Who in this world would be able to do this? Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the sky. He then calmly spoke, split the heavens. With just a single glance, the entire sky trembled. A beam of divine light directly broke apart the dome of the heavens as boundless multicolored light descended from the heavens. From the location Qin Wentian was at, numerous beams of divine light shot towards different directions. Everywhere the divine light passed by, everyone discovered to their shock that they could actually see the scenes of the places where the divine light passed by. There were numerous majestic cities, extremely powerful sects and powers, as well as towering floating palaces. Was this the world outside the heavens? 33 beams of light shot towards the 33 immortal realms. At this moment, countless people in the 33 immortal realms inclined their heads and stared at the divine light, spreading out a vast expanse of red all the way to the upper world. In the airspace of this particle world, thunderous roars could be heard. After that, a 5-clawed golden dragon soared through the clouds, a phoenix controlled divine flames, a Kirin soared through the air, a sunbird let out a long cry. Numerous divine beasts descended from the immortal realms. It was unknown how many divine beasts had appeared in the airspace of this particle world. The people of the particle world stared at the sky as their bodies trembled. Heavens, what is going on? The numerous demonic beasts swooped down, arriving in the airspace above the Mo residence. Those experts from the immortal sect all felt their bodies trembling. The hearts of the 2 immortal immortals were also pounding violently. Miracle, is this a miracle? Many people knelt on the ground and worshipped the divine beasts, feeling incomparably emotional. However, even more people turned their gazes to Qin Wentian, splitting the heavens apart with a single glance, spreading out a vast expanse of red, leading to the descent of the divine beasts. He really did it. Mo Qingqing stared at this scene in disbelief. Her beautiful eyes were moist. Was this a dream? In the sky, numerous figures suddenly appeared. Each of them exuded an unfathomable aura. They were like gods of the heavens, lofty existences. There were also terrifying devilish characters, like gods and devils from the various heavens. Not only so, in the projection of the 33 immortal realms, many people turned their gazes over. It was like they could see the particle world. Right now, their expressions were incomparably solemn as they stared at the scene where Qin Wentian was. They naturally knew who this person was. This was the god that everyone believed in. The 2 immortal immortals felt their hearts trembling. Even their legs were trembling. Let alone them, even if the strongest experts from their immortal sects were here, they would only be able to kneel. In the air, each and every figure that appeared were existences that they couldn't touch. In that case, who was this white-robed young man? Who is he? Countless people in the surroundings were asking in their hearts. The people of the Mo residence were asking as well. At this moment, everything felt too surreal. The demon god mountain leads the saint beasts of the supreme ancient desolate region to congratulate the ancient godly monarch. We pay our respects to the ancient godly monarch. All the demons lowered their heads. Regardless of god beasts or demonic beasts at this moment, all of them were incomparably respectful. The person standing before them was the ancient godly monarch. It was said that it was extremely difficult for the demon sovereigns to meet with him. Being able to come here to congratulate the ancient godly monarch was a supreme honor. Congratulations to the ancient godly monarch. Congratulations to the heavenly deity. In the air, the deities bowed as though they were on a pilgrimage. The supreme ancient godly king palace congratulates the ancient godly monarch. Outside the sky, at the location where the 33 beams of light were, a beam of light descended onto the ancient godly king palace. Within the ancient godly king palace, countless people bowed. The azure mystic heaven empyrean palace congratulates the ancient godly king. A beam of light landed on the heaven empyrean palace of the azure mystic immortal realms. Within the heaven empyrean palace, the people of the various branches bowed. The Chao clan of the Scarlet Sun immortal realms congratulates the ancient godly king. In another scene, many people from the Chao clan were kneeling on one knee. The Divine King Palace and Qingxian Celestial Emperor Palace were direct subordinates of the Divine King. They were different and needed to be more pious and respectful. The Donghuang clan of the Eastern Royal Heaven congratulates the ancient Time King. The other scene was that of a woman. The person in the lead was none other than Donghuang Ying. She led the reorganized members of the Donghuang clan to pay their respects. Who knew what she was feeling in her heart? Numerous voices rang out in the 33 immortal realms. At this moment, the entire particle world was filled with people prostrating themselves in worship. In the 33 immortal realms, everyone was overjoyed when they learned about the ancient godly monarch. All of them stared up at the divine light in the sky and offered their congratulations from the bottom of their hearts. The ancient godly monarch had saved countless lives in the War of Deities. With a thud, the two exalted immortals dropped to their knees and prostrated themselves on the ground. They buried their heads in the ground as their bodies trembled. At this moment, how could they not know who the young man before them was? In the entire world, there was only one person who could make everyone in the 33 immortal realms worship him. Heaven and earth, the legend of Qingxian, the existence of faith. He unified Qingxian and was crowned the heavenly emperor, worshipped by the world. He had another title, the primordial god king. He was unparalleled in the 9 heaven star river and the 33 immortal realms. He was a supreme god, the legendary ancient godly monarch. But today they actually met him. Not only did they meet him, they actually wanted to snatch someone away from him. At this moment they prostrated themselves on the ground not only because of fear, but also because of shock and agitation in their hearts. The ancient godly monarch was right before their eyes. In the azure mystic immortal realms, who didn't want to see the heaven empyrean Qin Wentian's people? Sir, you have returned. Some of the old people in the particle world also trembled as tears flowed down their old faces. They slowly knelt down, feeling a boundless reverence from the bottom of their hearts. Once it was him who saved their particle world. He was the god of this world and now he has returned. They had never thought that they would be able to see him so closely. Right now, he wasn't just the god of their particle world, he was also the god of all the heavenly immortal realms, the ancient godly monarch. Chapter 2048. The people of the world paid their respects. The divine beasts of the various heavenly immortal realms paid their respects. Even the gods and devils came to congratulate him. When the young man saw this, he slumped to the ground, unable to muster any strength. Why was this so ridiculous? Such a thing actually happened to him. He fell in love with the woman the ancient godly monarch liked. Should he feel honored? Earlier, he said that he wanted to kill the ancient godly monarch. Right now, when he saw the 33 immortal realms trembling, how laughable was his words. Most probably no one would care about a minor character like him now. No wonder the ancient godly monarch didn't even bother to look at him. Was he even qualified to snatch the ancient godly monarch's woman? Qin Wentian truly didn't care about him. Although he had feelings for Mo Qingcheng, this only meant that his judgment wasn't bad. Given Qin Wentian's current status, he wouldn't go so far as to kill such a minor character. Hence he directly ignored him. He didn't have the time to care about the ancient godly monarch and the Chilean immortal sect. However, he didn't know that because of this matter, the Chilean immortal sect was disbanded. In the azure mystic immortal realms, there was someone who insulted the heaven empyrean. Even if Qin Wentian didn't care about it, would he still be able to exist peacefully like before? The people of the Mo residence felt their hearts in a mess. Mo Qingcheng's second uncle was so frightened that he fell to the ground. His entire person was in a daze. Wasn't this a little too crazy? God King, a person who has been waiting outside the Mo clan for a total of 20 years. When Qingcheng was born, he was already standing outside the Mo clan in a daze. Yet, he was actually the king of the heavens? Isn't this ridiculous? Even he himself started laughing. It was unknown if he was mocking himself or mocking fate for playing tricks on people. The ancient godly monarch fell in love with his niece, Mo Qingcheng. But right now he couldn't feel any happiness because he had chased Qin Wentian away and threatened him many times. Originally, he could have ascended to the heavens with a single step. But now he could only struggle in hell. Mo Qingcheng's beautiful face was already wet with tears. She stared at Qin Wentian, at the congratulations from the various immortal realms. Wasn't this the scene that Qin Wentian once spoke of? Millions upon millions of layers of red. Divine beasts descending from the heavens, the world trembled, gods and devils came to congratulate him. Why are you so emotional? Mo Qingcheng laughed and cried at the same time. Because I promised you, Qin Wentian said gently. But why is my strange uncle a god king? If that's the case, I'm afraid that all of this is fake. Although Mo Qingcheng was moved, she wasn't a fool. From the moment she was born, the person who waited for her outside the Mo residence, the person who watched her grow up, was the God King. What did this mean? It meant that from the moment she was born, Qin Wentian had already been waiting for her. He didn't fall in love with her after that. Silly girl. Qin Wentian stared at Mo Qingcheng, his gaze filled with gentleness and doting love. Because you were my wife in my past life. I've already waited for you to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Now you are finally coming back. Previous life. Mo Qingcheng murmured. She didn't feel shocked at all. In fact, she even believed it because she had a feeling that she and the strange uncle were acquainted with each other in their past lives. It turned out that she was the strange uncle's wife in her previous life. In that case, strange uncle must have loved me very much in my past life. Mo Qingcheng smiled sweetly. She was truly very happy. So it wasn't just for this life. In her past life, the strange uncle had already loved her and waited for her for an entire life, watching her grow up. Naturally, Qin Wentian spoke. In the surrounding space, numerous figures silently walked out. Each of them, regardless of gender, all exuded magnificence that was rarely seen in the world. Given their demeanor, even if they didn't release any aura, people could still sense what sort of existence they were. Among them there was Qin Wentian's father, Qin Yuanfeng, his mother Luoshan Qianxue, Qin Wentian's younger sister, Qin Kersen, as well as people from the Mo clan. Qin Wentian's foster father Qin Chuan, his junior apprentice brother Jun Mengchen, the southern phoenix matriarch Nanfeng Yaoyue, Nam Huang Yunxi by Qing. All of them were here. When they saw the scene of Qin Wentian and Mo Qingcheng falling in love again, radiant smiles appeared on their faces as they silently blessed them. Who would be able to understand the feelings of 2 lifetimes? Everything was finally going to be consummated. The woman who once swore to enter the cycle of reincarnation was finally going to return. Mo Qingcheng stared at these figures as her heart trembled. She felt a sense of déjà vu with each of them. Although she had never met them before, the feeling was still extremely strong. Her mind was in a mess and she involuntarily closed her eyes. Qin Wentian drew in a deep breath. It was like he had foreseen something. His smile grew even more radiant as he spoke. Qingcheng, come back. A mysterious glow radiated from Mo Qingcheng, causing her beauty to seem even more divine. Her eyelashes fluttered. After that, her beautiful eyes slowly opened. When she stared at Qin Wentian again, the emotions contained in her beautiful eyes grew even deeper. These were the emotions of 2 lifetimes. She smiled and cried. She walked forward step by step, wiping away the tears in her eyes. Everything was so beautiful. Qin Wentian also lifted his feet and walked towards her. Finally, the 2 of them were inches apart. Qin Wentian stretched out his hand and helped Mo Qingcheng wipe away the tears in her eyes. Silly lass, in the future, I won't make you cry again. Strange uncle, which Qingcheng are you saying this to? Mo Qingcheng's beautiful eyes flashed with a mischievous light. Seeing the mischievous glint in her eyes, Qin Wentian abruptly stretched out his hands and pulled her into his embrace. Before Mo Qingcheng could react, he had already kissed her. Mo Qingcheng's body trembled. After that, her body seemed to melt. Time seemed to stop at this moment, as though it was going to last for eternity. For some unknown reason, when the countless lives in the immortal realm saw this scene, Many emotional people involuntarily shed tears. This was especially so for the people of the supreme ancient immortal realms. They had personally witnessed the deity-level battle, and personally saw Emo Qingqing making a heavy oath to enter samsara. Now they could personally witness her return. They were truly very happy. They were witnessing the love of the ancient godly monarch, the love of 2 lifetimes. Little Qingqing, in this lifetime I will arrange another wedding for you. Qin Wentian laughed softly in Emo Qingqing's ears. Emo Qingqing pinched his waist and spoke in a light voice. Elder sister Qing, elder sister Yuhuang, elder sister Qin, you as well? Right. Qin Wentian nodded. As you wish. Go and visit your family. They all miss you. Qin Wentian spoke in a light voice. Emo Qingqing nodded and walked towards her family. Qin Wentian turned his gaze to the people in the immortal realms as he spoke. This particle world is the place where I grew up, my hometown. I will create a teleportation array in the 33 immortal realms to connect to this world. For all heavenly deities and world overlords, if they are willing to enter this particle world to cultivate and guide the people of the world, I will specially allow them to enter the ancient pathway to the heaven vault to cultivate in the starry space. I will send people to guard this world, and the number of years they spend guiding the people here is equivalent to the number of years they can cultivate in the heaven vault. His voice directly rang through the 9 heavens, echoing throughout the immortal realms. As the sound of his voice rang out, countless world overlords went into a frenzy. Even if they didn't have the chance to join the God King Palace, they would still be able to obtain the qualifications to enter the heaven vault to cultivate. Qin Wentian's words were equivalent to opening a door for all heavenly deities and world overlords. All of them would obtain the opportunity to enter the heaven vault for cultivation. As for guiding the people of the world in this particle world, this was nothing much to them given how long their lives were. They all understood that the God King did this because he wanted to open a path to the heaven vault for everyone in the world. At the same time, he wanted to use this chance to do something for his hometown. With so many heavenly deities and world overlords here, one could very well imagine how prosperous this particle world would be in the future. In addition, I will return to the God King Palace to hold a wedding. The people of the various immortal realms will be able to see everything that happens here. Also, for those who came here to celebrate, they can enjoy the immortal banquet. At the same time, I will order a heavenly deity to lecture on the Tao. For those who came here to offer their congratulations, they can all listen. Qin Wentian spoke again, his words causing countless people to go into a frenzy. This was especially so for the people of the heaven region. They were the closest to the God King Palace and would be able to rush over. As for those who were further away, they felt extremely depressed. They missed this opportunity again. But even so, they would still be able to give their blessings. Also, all of them would be able to witness the grandest wedding under the 9 heavens. The grand wedding of the God King. Everyone in the world would be able to attend and offer their congratulations. After speaking, Emo Qingqing returned to Qin Wentian's side. She spoke in a light voice. Wentian, I want to ask my parents in this life if they are willing to head to the supreme ancient immortal realms. Qin Wentian nodded. Also your family members. If they are willing, they can all go. Also, if they wish to return, they can do so at any time. In this life they had raised Qingqing. Emo Qingqing nodded. Many people in the Emo clan were naturally willing to accompany her to the God King Palace. That was the God King Palace, and Emo Qingqing would be married to the God King. However, Emo Qingqing didn't invite many people. Only those close to her who treated her well. For example, her second uncle, she didn't invite him. Most of the time, her second uncle wanted to borrow her power to benefit his clan and himself. He didn't truly dote on her, and had even threatened to banish Qin Wentian several times. After doing all this, Qin Wentian brought the people from the supreme ancient immortal realms away. The various gods and devils vanished, the divine beasts left. The red glow in the sky vanished as well. It was like a dream. Staring at their departing figures, many people in this particle world were still kneeling on the ground. Before Qin Wentian left, he still didn't forget his hometown. In the future, there would be heavenly deities and world overlords who would descend to this world. Although no one knew what cultivation realm they would be at, they would definitely be above immortal emperors. The 2 immortals from the immortal sect were still kneeling there. The young man was limp on the ground. When Qin Wentian left, he didn't even glance at them. Mo Qingqing's second uncle stared at the many people from the Mo clan who left together with him. He inclined his head up and sighed. Fate truly made fools of people. For the sake of the marriage between Qingcheng and the immortal sect, he did the most things and was the most proactive. But in the end he was the most sorrowful person. Chapter 2049. In the God King Palace, in the grand wedding ceremony of the God King Qin Wentian, it was unknown how many banquets were held. The scene here could be seen by everyone in the 33 immortal realms. Everyone sent their blessings. This was the grandest wedding in the history of the world. For this wedding, all the major powers of the God King Palace came to help. Even heavenly deities were doing odd jobs. In the entire world, when has there ever been something like this before? The 4 brides of the God King were all very beautiful and each of them had their own unique beauty. Among the 4, Princess Kitamura was the shyest. She accompanied her for many years and waited for so many years. Now her wish was finally fulfilled. Qin Wentian held a grand wedding ceremony to marry her. Her aura was cold, but at this moment, she exuded a sense of gentleness and beauty, incomparably holy. Qin Wentian stood together with his 4 wives, appearing so compatible. Only the God King would be able to match up to such outstanding women at the same time. The elders of Qingqing's second life were all sitting on the viewing platform, waiting for their toasts. The family members of Qingqing's second life weren't used to this and were very reserved. They initially wanted Qingqing to marry into an immortal sect, but who would have thought that she would marry the God King? An unparalleled existence in the world? The people sitting beside them were all major characters. As for those odd jobs, they were all lofty existences. The happiest ones were naturally Qin Yuanfeng and Luoshan Qianxue, as well as Qin Tiangang and the others. This was the first time they truly participated in Qin Wentian's wedding. These were their son and daughter-in-law. Qin Wentian married 4 wives and held such a grand wedding ceremony. A major reason was because his parents had never truly witnessed such a happy moment before. Now everything could finally be made up for. Qin Chuan, Yi Qingyun and the people of the Mo residence had experienced it before. Now that they experienced it again, they still felt extremely happy. The happiest one was the Dark North Immortal Emperor. His wish was finally fulfilled and he became Qin Wentian's true father-in-law. This time around he could finally hold his head high in front of Chongqing the Great. He even winked at Chongqing the Great, causing Chongqing the Great to laugh uproariously. This old fellow. This time all the elders were present. Could be considered a real reunion. When these elders sat on the ceremonial platform, there was even a small interlude. 2 old men fought for a seat closer to the middle, like 2 old fellows who did not respect their elders. I'm the teacher of Wentian and Yu Huang. Their current achievements are all because of me. You want to snatch them from me? Humph. It was rare for the crazy old freak to have a mischievous side to him. Naturally, this was just a joke between the 2 of them. Why can't I do that? Without me, would Qin Wentian have what he has today? I'm half a master to him and have guided him for many years. Now, although both of them have transformed into one without me, would he have any achievements today? Another old fellow was so angry that he was blowing his beard. How ridiculous! Is your cultivation stronger than mine? The words of the Grim Reaper nearly angered the other party to death. He was completely speechless. What kind of person was he? To actually compete in cultivation? This was too much of a bully. Seeing the other party's expression, the Grim Reaper laughed. All right, since you're half a master to Qin Wentian, let's sit here together. That's more like it. The other old fellow nodded in satisfaction. After that, he glanced at the scene before him as a smile appeared on his face. Behind him, there was a cold-looking young man. Do you see that? My judgment is still the best. A God King of the supreme ancient immortal realms is unrivaled. When would you be able to have half of his achievements? I would already be satisfied. The old fellow spoke. The young man behind him had a dark expression on his face. He was instantly speechless. What was half of Qin Wentian's achievements? He should at least be at the God King realm, right? Old man, you were bullied and you want to vent your anger on me? This is too much of a bully. No matter what, I've been with you longer than Di Tian. But now Qin Wentian brought his 4 maidens and went up to serve tea. The entire family was joyous and harmonious. Such an unprecedentedly grand wedding was witnessed by all 33 immortal realms. However, it was strangely calm. Other than the fact that there were more people, there wasn't anything special about it. It was simple and unpretentious, but everyone in the world could feel a sense of warmth. However, such a heartwarming scene caused some people to tear up. Among those who were crying, there were a few females among them. They were all in different locations in the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. Once they were very close to him, but now, when they saw him ascending to the peak, marrying his true love, all 33 immortal realms were bearing witness to this. They could only watch quietly from afar, silently sending their blessings to Qin Wentian. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, there were also countless people watching. This was especially so for the places where Qin Wentian stayed before. For example, the Qingcheng realm. Qingcheng was their god of faith, their god. The 2 words Qingcheng in the Qingcheng realm was named after Qing'er and Qingcheng. Right now, all of them were here to witness this scene. It was said that for the grand wedding of the ancient godly monarch, the banquet in the God King Palace would last for 3 months. At that time, there would be heavenly deities giving Tao lectures, bringing good fortune to those who went there to offer their congratulations. Because those with stronger cultivation bases in the supreme ancient immortal realms would all disregard everything and head there. As for those in the heaven region, they were all doing their best to rush towards the God King Palace. Among the many people rushing over, there was a group of people. Their cultivation bases weren't very high. The vast majority of them were at the immortal realm. There was only a world overlord among them who seemed to be covered in dust, like they had been rushing all this time. The God King Palace is about to arrive. At this moment, a young man with handsome features stared at a majestic palace that towered into the clouds. His eyes were a little wet. Finally, were they about to arrive? Elder sis, little he, we will arrive soon. The young man was clearly happy but also a little nervous. We will arrive soon. His elder sister was very beautiful, exuding a pure sense of beauty. She then asked, but does big brother Qin still remember us? Master should remember us, right? He treated us so well. It's fine even if Master doesn't remember us. At the very least, we would be able to see him once more. After that, one of our wishes would be fulfilled. The young man laughed. Big brother Qin is so kind. He definitely wouldn't forget us. The young woman seriously nodded her head. She thought back to the scenes when she met Qin Wentian in the small city. Although she knew that Qin Wentian accepted her younger brother as a disciple for a reason, it was because he wanted to protect her younger brother. We spent all our savings before we could use the teleportation array to arrive here. Qin Feng, if you are lying, I won't spare you. At that time, don't try to find some excuse that the ancient godly monarch doesn't remember you. At the side, a young man had a cold expression as he spoke to Qin Feng. Elder brother, Qin Feng wouldn't lie to me. The young woman named Little He held onto Qin Feng's hand as she gently spoke. The human heart is unfathomable. Who knows if he has his eyes on the strength of our clan or not? Being able to reach here, isn't it all because of the foundation of our clan? According to him, the little bit of savings he has on him has already been depleted when he came here from Azure Mystic. The young man cold spoke. He came from a major clan in the supreme ancient immortal realms. He had always been against Qin Feng and his younger sister getting along. Even his clan members were against it. If it wasn't for the fact that Qin Feng said that he knew the person who was conferred the title of ancient godly monarch during the deity-level war 20 years ago, and that person was the master he had been searching for, why would they waste their time on Qin Feng? Elder brother. Little He angrily glared at her elder brother. She tightened her grip on Qin Feng's hand. Qin Feng, don't mind her. I won't. Qin Feng smiled and shook his head. It's fine even if the ancient godly monarch doesn't know you guys. At that time we can find an excuse to elope. I will follow you to the ends of the world. Little He transmitted her voice to Qin Feng. Qin Feng tightened his grip on her hand. Right now, he really hoped that his master would still remember him. It wasn't for himself but for Little He. He didn't want Little He to elope with him and flee for her life. In truth, he didn't come here because Qin Wentian was a god king. Very long ago, he knew that Qin Wentian was the heaven empyrean of Azure Mystic, and started to search for him. He went to the Heaven Empyrean Palace, but at that time, Qin Wentian's family and friends were all taken away. For those who stayed behind, he couldn't even meet with Qin Wentian. How could he introduce him to Qin Wentian? He could only borrow the power of the grand formation of Azure Mystic and come to the supreme ancient immortal realms to investigate the whereabouts of his master. He only wanted to meet with his master. But after he came to the supreme ancient immortal realms, he got to know little he and had a woman he loved. He also hoped that his master would recognize him. He knew that his thoughts were a little selfish. Let's go. Qin Feng spoke in a light voice as he continued on his way. Finally, they arrived outside the God King Palace and saw the majestic buildings there. The God King invited everyone to the God King Palace to enjoy the banquet. Qin Feng and the others were all very agitated but also very nervous. Even that arrogant brother-in-law of his was also very nervous. This place was the God King Palace. After they were arranged to sit down, Qin Feng's brother-in-law shot a glance at him. Qin Feng called out to a beautiful maiden who was busy shuttling through the crowd and asked, "Fairy, is something the matter?" This fairy came from the Namhuang clan and was extremely beautiful. She had a bit of the elegance of the holy maiden Namhuang Yunqi back then. "Fairy, can I meet with the God King?" Qin Feng nervously asked. The Southern Phoenix fairy smiled. It's unknown how many people here wish to meet with the God King every day. Qin Feng's expression dimmed. That's right, it was unknown how many people wished to meet with his master every day. He is the disciple of the God King. Back then we were separated and now he is here to look for the God King. Qin Feng's brother-in-law spoke. The Southern Phoenix fairy's beautiful eyes flashed as she spoke in a light voice. I heard that the God King only has 2 female disciples, Jian and Jiran. They are currently in the God King Palace. Are there any other disciples? As she spoke, her gaze landed on Qin Feng. Qin Feng stared at her beautiful eyes and seriously nodded. However, he was a little unconfident as he replied, "That's something that happened a long time ago. In that case, I will help you ask Goddess Shunga." The Southern Phoenix fairy smiled and left this place. For such a matter, no one should dare to lie. Hence, she still had to pay attention to this matter. Who would dare to pretend to be a disciple of the God King in the God King Palace? Qin Feng grew even more nervous. Not long after, a beautiful goddess descended. She was like a goddess from the 9 heavens, incomparably pure and holy, like someone from a painting. Nanfeng Shunga was originally already as beautiful as a painting. Now that she was a heavenly deity, one could very well imagine her aura. This caused everyone to be in a daze as they stood up, trembling in fear. Nanfeng Shunga had a smile on her face. She stared at Qin Feng. "You are Big Brother Qin's disciple?" Since she could refer to herself as Big Brother Qin, one could very well imagine the identity of this female. This caused everyone to feel even more nervous. Qin Feng nodded. Nanfeng Shunga nodded as well. After that, she sent a divine sense into the God King Palace, and an instant later, a divine sense appeared. The divine sense smiled. "Qin Feng, little last Qin Qing, quickly come in." Upon hearing this familiar voice, Qin Feng's body trembled violently. He was incomparably moved in his heart. As for Qin Qing, tears involuntarily flowed from her eyes. Chapter 2050. Qin Feng and Qin Qing trembled as they stood up. Nanfeng Shunga personally led the way, entering the God King Palace. Qin Feng pointed to Xiao He. "This is my girlfriend, Xiao He. Okay, bring her along." Nanfeng Shunga smiled. Xiao He also stood up in agitation. What Qin Feng said was true. The ancient monarch was his master. The others also wanted to follow, but they were stopped by the Southern Phoenix fairy. They could only give up. In the inner hall of the God King Palace, Qin Wentian stared at them as a smile appeared on his face. "Little fellow, your cultivation base is already at the immortal realm. Little lash Qin Qing, you are getting more and more beautiful." The two of them trembled lightly. When they really saw Qin Wentian, they were so nervous that they didn't know what to say. "Qin, God King." Qin Qing didn't know how to address him. Qin Wentian glared at her. "What God King? Just call me Big Brother Qin." "Qin Feng, it has been many years since we last met. Why didn't you greet your master?" "Disciple pays my respects to master." Only then did Qin Feng walk out. He knelt on the ground and performed the greeting of acknowledging a master. However, there was a formless energy supporting his body, allowing him to stand up. Everything is still the same as before. If you guys are acting like this, I will treat it as though I don't know you too. Qin Wentian criticized. The blue seas turned into mulberry fields. Right now, his status caused the people close to him to be so nervous. He didn't like this. Most probably, only those who had always been by his side would be able to be as calm as before. Big brother Qin. Qin Qing nodded, feeling incomparably happy in her heart. Big brother Qin was still the same as before, so gentle and approachable. Her beautiful eyes were a little wet as she stared at Qin Wentian. Thank you, big brother Qin. Silly lass. Qin Wentian walked up and rubbed Qin Qing's head. This lass was extremely kind back then, willing to sacrifice herself for her younger brother. You are called Xiao He? Qin Wentian glanced at Xiao He who was beside Qin Feng. Xiao He nodded heavily as she secretly surveyed this unparalleled character in the supreme ancient immortal realms. In the future, just follow Qin Qing and call me Big Brother Qin. Don't worry, although Qin Feng is my disciple, I won't allow him to bully you. If he dares to bully you, just come and complain to me. Qin Wentian laughed. Xiao He smiled and nodded after hearing that. She even glanced at Qin Feng as though she was trying to show off. Qin Feng scratched his head. It's your elder brother outside, right? How's his character? Qin Wentian calmly asked. Xiao He's beautiful eyes flashed as she stared at Qin Wentian. Big brother Qin, my elder brother, has some power. If it wasn't for the fact that Qin Feng is big brother Qin's disciple, I'm afraid he would have already separated us. What about you? If I wasn't Qin Feng's master, would I still be together with him? Qin Wentian asked with a smile, causing Xiao He's body to tremble. Although she addressed Qin Wentian as big brother Qin, his casual words still caused her to tremble. Master Xiao He isn't such a person. Before she came here, she had already made preparations to escape with me. Qin Feng explained. What are you so nervous about? Qin Wentian glared at Qin Feng. At the instant he asked Xiao He. He already knew the answer. Right now, who would be able to escape his eyes? The reason why he asked was because he didn't want Qin Feng to be used by others. Qin Feng, little lass Qin Qing, I will bring you to choose a palace to stay in. In the future, you can stay in the God King Palace. As for Xiao He's family, compensate them appropriately. Don't sever ties with them. After all, they are Xiao He's family. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. He believed that Qin Feng would naturally understand the meaning behind his words. Since the other party had ulterior motives, there was no need to think about how they wanted to fish for benefits here. However, he wouldn't really make Xiao He sever ties with her family. That would be too overboard. This disciple understands. Qin Feng smiled and nodded. He knew what he should do. Shunga, help me bring them to choose a palace. I have to welcome a person. Qin Wentian spoke. Nanfeng Shunga's beautiful eyes flashed with a bright light. There was actually a person that needed Qin Wentian to welcome personally? The vast majority of his family and friends were all in the God King Palace. As for the others, which one of them would have such face? Right. She nodded lightly and brought Qin Feng and Qin Qing away. Not long after, Qin Feng and Qin Qing obtained a majestic palace for themselves in the God King Palace. This palace was comparable to the royal palace of a kingdom. The maids there were all at the immortal realm, causing them to feel like they were dreaming. The God King Palace was a place that countless people yearned for. Right now, even heavenly deities and world overlords from the outside world couldn't enter. Qin Feng, in the future, are we going to stay here? Xiao He also felt like she was in a dream. It was surreal. She believed that Qin Wentian was Qin Feng's master. Qin Feng told her about this story, but after all, it was just an interlude many years ago. She couldn't be sure if Qin Wentian would recognize Qin Feng or not. After all, Qin Wentian had met countless people on his path of cultivation. Qin Feng was just an experience. It was normal for him to casually dismiss Qin Wentian. I knew big brother Qin wouldn't forget about us. Qin Qing's eyes were still filled with tears and she hadn't wiped them clean. Before this, who was the one who was so nervous and didn't even dare to call him master? Qin Feng teased, his words causing Qin Qing to glare fiercely at him. However, everything was in the past now. Nanfeng Shunga smiled as she listened to the conversation between the three of them. From now on, their fates would undergo a heaven-shaking change. From now on they could roam freely in the supreme ancient immortal realms. When she thought of the past, Nanfeng Shunga also felt that this was a dream. Qin Wentian's figure appeared outside the God King Palace, personally welcoming them. At this moment, not far away from the God King Palace, two figures slowly walked over. Qin Wentian had met these two before. The person in the lead was clad in robes as white as snow. His aura was as ordinary as ever, incomparably ethereal, like he didn't belong to the mortal world. As for the figure standing behind him, Qin Wentian had also met him before. Once in the past, Qin Wentian met him and obtained good fortune from him. I didn't expect two seniors to come. Qin Wentian smiled. You have already transcended. There's no need to refer to me as senior. We are of the same generation and I am older than you. You can just refer to me as elder brother. The white-robed young man spoke in a carefree manner. Okay, elder brother. Qin Wentian wasn't polite and directly replied. Since you already referred to my teacher as elder brother, there's no need for you to refer to me as senior. Speaking of which, your current cultivation base is higher than mine. The figure behind the white-robed young man spoke. So it turned out that he was none other than one of the 8 god kings of the mystic region, the Time King. Teacher. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. After that he smiled. Indeed, in this world, the only person who could become the teacher of the God King of Time was most probably this white-robed young man. Naturally, he could also be considered one now. I once told you that I've always been searching for a method to transcend, wanting to be able to soar through the past and the future. However, I ultimately couldn't do it. After that, I met my teacher. He was able to do it, hence I thickened my skin and followed him. Teacher was helpless and finally agreed to bring me along. The God King of Time calmly spoke. He didn't care about face at all. At his level, there was only one thing he pursued. It's just that his efforts are destined to be futile. If he wants to transcend, he has to understand the ways of the masses. That deity-level battle was an opportunity. The God King of the Western Paradise also comprehended a little, but sadly, he took the wrong path. In the end, he ended up helping you. The white-robed young man laughed. Why? I'm here to congratulate you. Are you not going to invite me in to take a seat? Elder brother, please. Only now did Qin Wentian react. He couldn't help but laugh involuntarily. The three of them walked over together and directly came to a quiet location in the God King Palace. The white-robed young man was someone who didn't belong to worldly affairs. Most probably he liked peace and quiet. If not, his name would have long resounded through the world. Elder brother, I've always had a question. Since one wants to transcend, one has to understand the ways of the masses. In that case, if a person who transcends is born, his name would definitely be known by everyone in the world. His name would be passed down to the future generations, never to be forgotten. Why is it that only a few people know of elder brother's existence? Qin Wentian curiously asked. Even people from the Tiandao Sacred Academy didn't know of this. From a certain perspective, I'm not a transcendent. The white-robed young man shook his head. Because to you, I'm just an outsider. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. Elder brother came from the 9 heavenly layers? The white-robed young man nodded his head. Since you've already transcended at your level, you should know that the universe is boundless and boundless. The world enveloped by the 9 heavenly layers is merely a perfect world. In the boundless universe beyond the 9 heavenly layers, there are countless other worlds. Once I roamed the universe and visited many worlds. After that, I came here and felt that the laws of this world are extremely interesting and extremely perfect. I felt that there would be someone on par with me in this world. Hence I decided to stay here. Now I've been waiting for someone, and that person is you. Qin Wentian was a little shocked in his heart. The white-robed young man had probably existed for countless years. Even in the entire universe, it was hard to find an existence on par with him until he transcended. From this, one could imagine how strong he was. Of course, this also meant that the current him had also reached the same level as him. In the future, are you interested in traveling with me? The white-robed young man suddenly asked with a smile. I'm afraid you'll have to wait for a few years. Qin Wentian smiled. He knew that after transcending, It would be hard for him to pursue anything in this world. But after all, this place had everything he was familiar with. For a very long period of time, he wouldn't leave this place. I understand. After all, I've experienced the same things as you. As for waiting at our level, a bit of time actually doesn't count for much. The white-robed young man smiled. Qin Wentian would eventually feel loneliness, the loneliness of being invincible. All right, it's a promise then. Qin Wentian wanted to see the outside world as well. But before that, he had to roam the entire supreme ancient immortal realms. The two of them chatted and laughed, talking about some interesting things. For example, what the world beyond the 9 heavenly layers was like. Occasionally, laughter would ring out. After a long time, the white-robed young man brought the God King of Time away. The two of them made a promise that one day in the future, they would roam the universe beyond the 9 heavenly layers together. Chapter 2051. The grand banquet that lasted for several months finally ended. Countless people in the 33 immortal realms felt a sense of disappointment. The God King Palace that stood at the peak of the supreme ancient immortal realms vanished from their sight. In the future, it would be hard for them to see the God King Palace again. After the grand banquet ended, everyone in the world had a feeling that the curtains to the supreme ancient immortal realms had truly opened. A brand new era was about to begin, waiting for the people of the world to create it. One morning in the God King Palace in Qin Wentian's sleeping quarters, Qin Wentian, Mo Qingcheng, Qinger Princess Kitamura, Yi Qianyu and the others were together as they headed out of the sleeping quarters. Just as they exited, a snow-white silhouette flashed over and directly leapt into Qingqing's embrace. Little rascal's beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian. You want to shake me off? No way. Qin Wentian shushed. But at this moment, a beautiful figure appeared behind him. It was Purgatory. She silently followed behind, not saying anything. Wentian Gij, it's useless. The God King Palace has already been set up by us. Although you can easily destroy it, we would still know about it. A mischievous voice drifted over. Unknowingly, the silhouette of Bai Qing appeared in front of them. At this moment, she was clad in a fiery red long robe, exuding a beautiful and elegant aura. She didn't seem like a devil king that could control 10,000 devils at all. Little Bai Qing, you even schemed against your Wentian Gij. Qin Wentian spoke in a depressed manner. Who asked you to be so unkind? It was my idea. Why? Now that you are the God King, you don't want to acknowledge me as your senior sister? You don't even want to bring me along when you go out to play. Luo Huan's alluring figure appeared. She crossed her arms in front of her chest, exuding an incomparably alluring aura. Her beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian. Beside her, Qin Yao smiled at Qin Wentian. This younger brother of hers was truly dishonest. He actually wanted to sneak away. Senior sister, please spare me. Qin Wentian was incomparably depressed. There's no use begging me. Luo Huan giggled. At this moment, several more figures appeared in the surroundings. Namhuang Yunxi, Nanfeng Shanga and Jialan Qiuyue. For a period of time it was like 100 flowers blooming at the same time, incomparably beautiful. The vast majority of those who appeared before them were all goddesses. Most probably, only Qin Wentian would be able to enjoy such treatment. Elder brother, you failed to escape again. Luo Shenlei also came over. She giggled. Senior brother, just give in. Jun Mengchen walked over to join in the fun. Mengchen, I will leave the matters of the God King Palace to you in the future. You have to handle it well for me. Qin Wentian had a straight face as he stared at Jun Mengchen. A moment later, Jun Mengchen's expression sank. Senior brother Qin, I was wrong. Please spare me. You are the God King of the world, the Lord of this world. This matter naturally has to be handled by you. Only you can take on such a heavy responsibility. In addition, my father-in-law, the monarch, and senior brother Bai Wuya will help you. My maternal grandfather and uncle will be there as well, but your cultivation base is the highest. You should be the one holding the fort. Qin Wentian had a serious look on his face, abusing his position to take revenge. Aren't there still uncle and auntie? Jun Mengchen spoke. Kersen will be there as well. We are also preparing to roam the world. Qin Yuanfeng and Luoshan Qianxue appeared and smiled, completely shattering Jun Mengchen's hope. Father, mother, are you really not going to come with us? Qin Wentian asked. Don't we know how to play by ourselves? Luo Shenqianxue smiled. She exchanged a mutual glance with Qin Yuanfeng. Everything was understood without words. Qin Wentian felt warmth in his heart. His father and mother loved each other so much. He was naturally happy. Curson, who are you going with? Luo Shenqianxue smiled as she asked. I'm going with elder brother. I won't disturb father and mother. Qin Curson softly spoke, not wanting to disturb her father and mother. Qin Wentian was in so much pain that he wished he was dead. If he doesn't disturb father and mother, does that mean he can disturb me? AI as an elder brother. His life was truly bitter. In any case, I want to follow elder brother to roam the world. Luo Shenlei added. Please spare me. Qin Wentian covered his face with his hands. He was in so much pain that he wished he was dead. Don't worry, my family will roam the world alone and won't disturb you. Look, it's still brother who treats you the best. It was unknown when Fatty Fanlu had walked out. He spoke to Qin Wentian. Beside him, Ouyang Guangxing and Jiang Ting were both smiling at Qin Wentian. A family? Fan Yi asked. That's right, little Yi. We are a family of 3, enjoying the bliss of a family. Fan Le complacently stared at Qin Wentian. Who wants to go with you guys? I want to follow my godfather. Fan Ye's silhouette flashed and ran to Qin Wentian's side, pulling on Qin Wentian's arm. Fan Le started, he didn't know how to react. After that, he inclined his head towards the sky and sighed. What a sin. Is this really my daughter? Don't worry. Every 10 or 100 years, when I'm in a good mood, I will go and visit you. Fan Yi giggled. Fan Li's tears flowed down his face. Wentian. Yi Qingyun also came over and called out, Foster father. Qin Wentian glanced at Yi Linyun. Bring your sister Lingshuang along as well. That lass is also bored in the God King Palace. Yi Qingyun smiled. Qin Wentian had no way to reject. Qingyun, us 2 old fellows can play chess. Qin Chuan spoke to Yi Qingyun. Arg senior brother Qin. You treated me like this, I will definitely take revenge. Jun Mengchen spoke with reluctance. Up to you. Qin Wentian smiled as he stared at Jun Mengchen. Jun Mengchen's expression instantly sank. He couldn't win against his senior brother. Qin Wentian glanced apologetically at Qingcheng and Qing. He transmitted his voice. We will shake them off on the way. Qingcheng and the others smiled, feeling warmth in their hearts. They could finally be free. Such a scene was truly beautiful. Let's move out. Qin Wentian stared into the distance. Move out. Little rascal inclined his head and spoke. The group of them had smiles on their faces as they flew towards the God King Palace. Not long after they left, a piece of shocking news circulated out from the God King Palace. The God King, Qin Wentian, would bring many beauties to roam the 33 immortal realms and particle worlds. It was speculated that he would walk the path he had walked before and visit those places he had never been to before. Hence, countless people in the 33 immortal realms were stirred, hoping that they would be able to meet the God King one day. Maybe they would be able to receive his guidance and soar up into the sky. After Qin Wentian learned of this news, he almost couldn't help but to rush back to the God King Palace to give Jun Mengchen a good beating. His junior brother has learned bad things. However, Qin Wentian was actually very happy in his heart. He wouldn't change his mind and would allow Jun Mengchen to be the overseer of the God King Palace. This world would belong to him sooner or later. In the particle world where the Chu country used to be, snow began to fall. The white snow blanketed the land, covering it with a layer of silver. In the Sky Harmony city of the Chu country there was a gigantic statue. Snow drifted down and landed on the statue, covering it completely. But occasionally there would be people who passed by the statue. They couldn't help but to pay their respects to the statue. At this moment, not far away from the statue, a few figures appeared. One of them looked exactly the same as the statue. It was none other than Qin Wentian. I can't even see the shadow of the past Qin clan. Qin Wentian smiled. Qin Yao stared at the towering statue as she nodded her head lightly. Let's go. Qin Wentian lifted his foot and departed. Little Lash Qing, do you want to go to your clan to take a look? Sure. Bai Qing nodded. Wentian Gidge, can you carry me on your back like when we were young? Qin Wentian squatted down and smiled, Come on up. Bai Qing smiled as she leaned on Qin Wentian's back. The two of them walked through the snow, with Qin Yao following behind them with a smile on her face. Their footsteps left footprints in the snow, and on Qin Wentian's back, a teardrop dripped onto the snow, causing it to melt. Another scene appeared in the Chu country. In a vast expanse of white snow, there was a towering tree that towered into the heavens. Its branches and leaves were all covered by the snow. Under the ancient tree, a handsome young man in white sat on the snow. He stretched out his legs and lazily leaned against the thick roots of the tree. His bright eyes were smiling as he stared at the beautiful scenery before him. A peerless fairy stretched out her hand, allowing the snowflakes to land on her palm. She casually twirled her body, not intentionally dancing, but it was as though she was performing the most beautiful dance in the world. Beside him, there was a white-haired beauty quietly standing there, as though she was one with the white snow. After a long time, the fairy-like beauty seemed to have grown tired. She walked over to the ancient tree and sat down, leaning against the white-robed man. Her body tilted slightly as she closed her eyes in enjoyment. The white-haired beauty also sat down, leaning against the other side of the white-robed man. Time seemed to have stopped flowing, and only the snowflakes danced in the air. Gradually, the three people under the ancient tree were all covered by the white snow. They were like snowmen, quietly leaning against the tree. Beautiful, very beautiful. Chapter 2052. Time flowed by unknowingly. In the particle world of Chu, there was news that someone saw the ancient god king Qin Wentian. He was quietly sitting under an ancient tree amidst the white snow, with goddesses from the 9 heavens dancing before him. There were also people who said that they personally saw Qin Wentian leading the fairies on a boat on the lake, leisurely enjoying the sunlight like an ordinary mortal. It was just that the people around him were simply too stunning. The news of Qin Wentian returning to the particle world spread like wildfire. In fact, this news even spread to the azure mystic immortal realms. There were even heavenly deities and world overlords who came to the particle world to educate the masses. They used their powerful divine sense and immortal sense to scan the entire world, but they didn't discover any traces of the ancient God King. Maybe the ancient God King had some heaven-defying methods, making it so that divine sense couldn't detect his existence. In the Moon continent, the Hua clan in the past, things weren't very peaceful recently. The Hua clan was a branch left behind by Hua Taishu's clan in this particle world. Over 20 years ago, an infant was born in the Hua clan. In order to commemorate the supreme genius who once appeared in their Hua clan's records, they named this infant Hua Taishu. The news from the azure mystic immortal realm said that Hua Taishu was conferred the title of Samsara overlord by the god King Hall. He sacrificed himself to save the world. The Hua clan hoped that their descendants would remember this name. Hence, they had high hopes for the newly born Hua Taishu. And Hua Taishu didn't disappoint them. He displayed unprecedented talent and was in high spirits. But what caused the Hua clan to collapse was that just as they were preparing for Hua Taishu to marry a beautiful wife, and even when the marriage was already settled, Hua Taishu actually became infatuated with the Buddhist Tao. If it was just infatuation, that would be fine. After all, the power of the Buddhist Dharma was already extremely powerful. But Hua Taishu actually shaved his head and became a monk, saying that he wanted to wholeheartedly focus on the Buddhist Tao. The entire Hua clan was in an uproar. Hua Taishu's father was so angry that he fell ill, wanting to disown his son. Today, a mysterious guest came to the Hua clan. When they saw the person who came, the people of the Hua clan all trembled so much that they almost knelt down. "I'm just taking a stroll," Qin Wentian said with a smile. The people of the Hua clan knew that their ancestor, Hua Taishu, and the deity king were old friends. Maybe it was because of this that the deity king came here personally. A very handsome monk walked over. When he saw Qin Wentian, he bowed and said, "The divine king has come to visit. It just so happens that I have some doubts in my heart, and would like to ask the divine king to dispel them." "I know what your doubts are, but I can't solve them." Qin Wentian looked at the handsome monk in front of him and revealed a gentle smile. He looked different and so did his personality. "You are a god king, can't you undo it?" Hua Taishu asked. "Although I'm a god king, my knowledge of Buddhism is too shallow. There's nothing I can guide you with. In the future, in the supreme ancient immortal realms, You will control the Buddhist arts and deliver the masses from suffering. You will establish a Buddhist sect and lead people to do good deeds, becoming the orthodox path of Buddhism. Hence you can go and comprehend on your own." Qin Wentian left behind a sentence before he turned and departed, vanishing in an instant. After hearing his words, the hearts of the people of the Hua clan trembled violently. After that, they all knelt on the ground and kowtowed in the direction where Qin Wentian left. Great waves of shock rose in their hearts and they couldn't calm down even after a long time. In the future, in the supreme ancient immortal realms, Hua Taishu would control the Buddhist arts and establish a Buddhist sect, becoming the orthodox path of Buddhism. If these words were spoken by anyone else, the people of the Hua clan would most probably think that he was a madman. But the person who spoke these words was none other than Qin Wentian, the God King of the supreme ancient immortal realms, Qin Wentian. If he said so, that meant that in the future, Hua Taishu would become the Buddha Lord of all living things. The news of Qin Wentian's arrival naturally circulated out very quickly. More and more people believed that the ancient godly monarch was currently in this particle world. Everyone in the particle world was extremely agitated, hoping that they would be able to meet the ancient godly monarch one day. If they could be like Hua Taishu and be conferred the title of Buddha Lord, how wonderful would that be? Sadly, this was destined to be a beautiful fantasy. Other than the commotion caused by Qin Wentian's arrival, there were also some things happening in various corners of the particle world. For example, once in the immortal martial realm, in a lake, a celestial maiden descended from the heavens and sat by the lakeside, playing the zither. The melody was beautiful and melodious, filled with boundless yearning and sorrow. When the song ended, it would cause the hearts of those who heard it to break. Everyone in the world said that the person who could cause the fairy to cry her heart out was none other than herself. In addition, this fairy played the zither all day long, not eating or drinking, causing countless people to feel pity for her. Other than this, there was another matter that attracted attention. The battle sword sect that Qin Wentian was once a sect. The members of that sect were already existences that could freely enter and exit the God King Palace. However, there was actually a supreme fairy who descended to the mortal world and re-established the battle sword sect in this particle world. It was as though she wanted to answer the summons of the ancient godly monarch and guide the people of this particle world. This supreme fairy had unparalleled beauty and was as cold and arrogant as ice. It was said that she was once the senior apprentice sister of the ancient godly monarch and roamed the immortal world together with him. Many years later, the zither string of the fairy who played the zither by the lake finally broke. However, she still couldn't find the person she yearned for. On the second day, she actually vanished, never to be seen again. Many people who were deeply attracted by her went to search for her, but they couldn't find any traces of her. Some said that after her zither string broke, the person she yearned for returned and brought her away. There were also some who said that the broken zither string had already died. Most probably, she died because of love. As for which conjecture was correct, most probably no one in the world knew. There were only some who said that they saw the silhouette of the ancient godly monarch not far away from the lake. Naturally, this was never verified. Finally, no one in the particle world saw the ancient godly monarch's footsteps again. At the same time, in the azure mystic immortal realms, rumors of the ancient godly monarch's arrival began to circulate. The immortal Qinbian Gate, Evergreen Kingdom, Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, Southern Phoenix Immortal City, all these familiar places, Qin Wentian's footsteps appeared again. Many people said that they saw the ancient godly monarch in these places, as well as many breathtaking fairies and goddesses. There were also people in the myriad Devil Islands who said that they saw the ancient godly monarch. This was especially so for an island at the border of the myriad Devil Islands. There were many who said that the ancient godly monarch seemed to be reminiscing about something. Could it be that there were old acquaintances of the ancient godly monarch here? From the particle world to the azure mystic immortal realms, and then to the 33 immortal realms, the legends regarding the ancient godly monarch continued to circulate day after day, year after year. It was like this was an eternal topic in the 33 immortal realms. Thousands of years passed, but the legends of the ancient godly monarch were still mentioned everywhere. After thousands of years, the supreme ancient immortal realms became even more flourishing compared to the past. Many more heavenly deities were born. Naturally, the majority of them were from the God King Palace. After all, the powers under the God King Palace could head to the Heaven Vault to comprehend the Das. Other than this, there were also some people with outstanding talent who managed to enter the deity realm. When they were at the World Overlord realm, they would head to the particle world to spread their Tao before entering the Heaven Vault to cultivate and comprehend the heavenly Das. Countless people were grateful to the ancient godly monarch. For everyone in the world, as long as they had enough talent to break through to the World Overlord realm, they would have a chance to enter the Heaven Vault to comprehend the Das. In truth, the ancient godly monarch had already opened the Heaven Vault to everyone. Under the entrance of the Heaven Vault, in the Boundless Sea region, the majestic Qin Heavenly Divine Sect could be seen. However, this place was already a historical remnant. It only had a symbolic meaning. The God King Palace was the true core of the current supreme ancient immortal realms. Other than the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, there was still a very large stretch of sea in the Boundless Sea region. There would always be people on boats on the sea, staring up at the Heaven Vault. It was like by being on the sea they would be closer to the starry space. Today, at the border of the Boundless Sea region, a group of people appeared. The moment they appeared, they instantly attracted the gazes of everyone. The expressions of the people in the surroundings froze as a fervent look appeared on their faces. Ancient godly monarch. Someone called out in a trembling voice. Qin Wentian made a shushing gesture. He smiled at everyone, and after that, he brought the beauties behind him and continued on his way. For a period of time, everyone was dazzled by his beauty. Before everyone could react, they only saw the ancient godly monarch boarding the boat and flying towards the sea region. The people on the shore stared dumbfoundedly at this scene. Someone spoke. I've always fantasized about what I would say when I see the ancient godly monarch. But when I truly saw him, I actually couldn't say a single word. Me too. Someone at the side sighed as he shook his head and smiled bitterly. Goddesses, how beautiful. Most probably, the most beautiful women in the supreme ancient immortal realms are all by the ancient godly monarch's side. Have you forgotten? There's still one more in the Boundless Sea region. Someone laughed in praise. The eyes of everyone flashed as they thought of that supreme beauty. She was once the #1 beauty in the Heaven region. She has been sailing in the Boundless Sea region for many years, and her home was none other than Boundless City. At this moment, everyone exchanged mutual glances as smiles appeared on their faces. It was like they understood something. In the Boundless Sea region, at the bow of the boat, Qin Wentian quietly laid on the deck with his hands as a pillow, enjoying the sunlight. Beside him, Mo Qingqing inclined her head and stared at the sky. She spoke. In the past, I have always been in the Heaven Vault, but I've never had the chance to look at this sea region properly. So it turns out that it's actually so beautiful. My Qingqing is the most beautiful. Qin Wentian laughed. What about elder sister Qing'er and the others? Mo Qingqing smiled. They are as beautiful as Qingqing. Qin Wentian replied. Loquacious. Mo Qingqing rolled her eyes, but she still enjoyed the feeling. No matter how many times she repeated it, it was still as warm as ever. Staring at Mo Qingqing's beautiful countenance, Qin Wentian suddenly spoke. Qingqing, let's have a child together. Mo Qingqing was badly frightened by the sudden words. Her face instantly turned red. When she saw Qin Wentian staring at her, she turned her head away. You should look for elder sister Qing'er. Qin Wentian stood up, turning his head and smiling at Qing'er. You better look for elder sister Yu Huang. Qing'er spoke in a melodious voice. Qin Wentian then glanced at Princess Kitamura. Me? Princess Kitamura instantly blushed. She stealthily glanced at everyone and actually nodded her head lightly. Elder sister Yu Huang. Behind her, many beauties involuntarily smiled and walked over when they saw Yu Huang nodding her head. A moment later, Yu Huang's face turned red from embarrassment. Qingqing and Qing'er were setting a trap for her. On the boat, the sound of laughter rang out, echoing through the Boundless Sea region. Similarly, in the Boundless Sea region, there was a lone boat quietly floating on the sea. On the boat, there was a peerlessly beautiful woman. Her beautiful eyes gazed into the distance as she allowed the boat to drift freely. It was unknown where it would end. End of the book. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.